accessible pour vous. Vous pouvez suivre des pages comme sur les réseaux sociaux qui vont pouvoir vous instruire puis vous faire part assez d'informations pour pouvoir vous défendre en tant que citoyen. Puis, une autre affaire, faites vos recherches sur vos avocats. C'est pas parce que ton avocat coûte moins cher qu'il est pas crédible. Ça veut pas dire non plus que ton avocat coûte cher qu'il est plus crédible. Parce qu'on connaît la game. L'avocat, il est ami avec le policier, puis il a des amis comme juge. Puis il y a des amis comme avocat. Lui, c'est son gagne-pain. All that, it's a game. But your life is in the sake of these people. Choose wisely your lawyer, man. Choose wisely your friends also. And make sure your partner that you're choosing is on the right side with you. Be careful with that, because I'm going to go ahead with that specific information. I used to date a guy that was a cop. And I'm going to go ahead with a certain information about a situation that happened to me, right? I told you earlier, 2 situations that happened to me. At the age of 10, I was coming back from school, heading home, excited to see my family. As usual, you get home, you're all excited. I was only 10 years old. Getting there, and I go to my room. I drop my school bag, whatever. And then stepping up of my room, walking towards the kitchen, some people just bum rushed the door in the afternoon. It was like 4:45 or 5 p.m. max. They just pushed the door of the house like it was nothing. And guess who pointed a gun on my arm? Close to me. A cop. A fucking white cop. At the age of 10. That was an experience that I don't wish nobody to experience, right? At the age of 10, we have a bunch of trauma, right? That experience was kind of strange because I was eating something. Because as I told you, I was walking towards the kitchen. I took something to eat. And the time that I turned to go watch TV in the living room, then the cops come in, right? Bum rush. And when he point the gun at me, then my food dropped on the floor, of course, right? And then I look at the cops. I was scared. And he looked at me for 2-3 seconds, pointing the gun at me, right? And he hid his gun. He dropped his gun. And he talked to me and said, "Are you alone here?" I said, "No." But I was still shaking because I'm like, are they supposed to protect and serve us? That's how I thought that they were there for the right reason, right? So that was at the age of 10. After that, I experienced another thing. January 2004. I was like dancing in a group. I grew up with these girls like they were my sisters, right? That's how I was like liking them. There were the first black crew that I grew up with, because when I was in elementary school, most of my friends were white. They were Greek, Lebanese, Portuguese, and some Quebecois. And when I went to high school, then I started to hang with some black people. So they were my they were my friends. You know what I'm saying? Friends, like sisters, like we had our back or whatsoever. I thought they had my back. That's what I could say. And into that group, we were always arguing, disagreeing on certain stuff, like every group of dance that I've noticed, that I've been through, or that I heard from other groups. We agree to disagree all the time. And that day, there was a practice that was supposed to be done at my house. And my dad, at that time, in the house, the living room the basement was my spot. And in the basement, he created like a wall with a lot of mirrors because he knew I loved to dance, right? So I have I have my stereo system there. I have my big TV screen. I had my sectional blue because I love blue, like color blue. It's kind of like I love the blue color. So he had that aqua blue marine type of sectional sofa. So whenever we need to practice at my place, then I had my own bathroom, so they don't need to go upstairs. So whatever you need, I bring it downstairs, right? And I had a fridge also. So that day we were supposed to practice. We were supposed to practice at my place. Everybody knew it was at my place because sometimes it was depending of the schedule and the space of people. The practice could have been in somebody else's crib, but that day was in my crib. And what was kind of strange that day is like, not even an hour before the practice was supposed to start, the girls been mentioning to me they were not coming. And I was like, oh, okay, kind of strange because we've been talking about it the day before. We talked about it in the morning, and they were telling me they were on their way to come, and then at last minute they didn't came unless one person. Only one person came. She was the only one who came to practice. And knowing that person, she's not the person that's missing moves, you know. She's the person that automatically catch every move pretty fast, you know. So, okay, she came. I was like, okay, but then we're just going to practice only me and you. Fine. So more space for us anyways. So we started practicing and all that, right? Dancing and all that. And then here comes the boom. That's how I'm going to call it. Here comes the boom. So now, I hear a big noise upstairs. And we were at the basement, right? So I heard like they breaking up the door, right? My sister was studying upstairs, if I'm not mistaken, and when she heard the noise, someone that broke the door, she started running, right, to go downstairs. And unfortunately for her, there was a bunch of guys there, so they slapped my sister. They beat her up, and that guy had a big ass gun and slapped my sister on the face with the gun. And me, I heard the noises from downstairs, and I hid myself with that person that was practicing with me behind the TV. And I had a cell phone at that time. My dad gave me a cell phone at the age of 16, so I had a cell phone. And the first thing that I thought I should do was to call the cops, right? Hearing my sister getting beat up, hearing all the noise, the table being cracked up, hearing a lot of things, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on downstairs? I'm scared, but I'm at the same time, I'm really outraged at this because nobody would love to hear a family member getting beat up, right? Nobody would love that. Let's not forget, let me just rewind a bit before they break in. I had a friend at that time that her mother was a good friend of my dad. They came an hour before they break in my house. And I saw them because I saw the girl. We used to go at school together. So, of course, I saw you were in the kitchen and I was there too. And then I kept going because I was getting ready for my practice, right, with the girl. And they left. And I don't know who called my dad at that moment, and that person called my dad to meet up somewhere or to, I don't know, man. My dad told me someone called him to ask him to meet up somewhere, and he left. And the only thing I could say is thank you to that person. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know who he is. I don't know nothing about the purpose of it, because at that day my dad would have been dead. Of course he would have been dead. And I called the cops. To get back to the story, I called the cops, and I was protecting my friend because in my head, she's in my house, and I would have felt guilty I would have felt guilty if something happens to her, right? Because she's in my territory. She is in my house. So I have to make sure that I protect her. And I called the cops. I told them that there's a bunch of people breaking in here. I don't know who they are. I'm hiding myself. I'm in the basement. I cannot go upstairs, but my sister, she's getting beat up, and y'all better come pretty fast. Okay, I better come pretty fast, motherfucker. And then now, my so-called friend that was there asked me for the phone, right? So I gave her the phone. Of course, what would I not give her the phone for? She needs to call somebody. She called somebody, and that person was apparently not far from my house. How the fuck that person was not far from my house at the incident? Again, I'm just saying the facts, right, of what I experienced. And I don't know if you can figure out the picture of it. So she called that person. That person was not far from where I was living at that time. And she said she was on her way to meet him up at the corner of the street. And I was like, the fuck? Okay. So I wanted to make sure that nobody was still there. So I had to get upstairs and left her downstairs to make sure that nobody was still there. I saw the door was broken. The door was, I think, on the floor or something like that. My things was all broken. Je revis la situation là. Puis je voyais comment que la maison était brisée. Je cherchais ma soeur, je voyais sa face, and I was like, yo, c'est fucked up. Puis j'étais enragée, man. Je suis montée en haut, j'étais comme tellement pisse, je regardais en haut. La maison était comme toute tête en bas. I was like, the fuck are these people, man? Puis pendant le temps que j'étais en train de vérifier si tout est correct pour que mon amie elle parte, elle était déjà en train de se préparer à partir. Fait qu'elle est partie. Alright, cool. She left. That ain't an issue. So, I think you can understand how I don't trust people. How me, when it comes to women, friendship and all that, I don't associate myself with that. Because I don't trust people for multiple reasons, for things that I've been through, situations that I had to go through, and choices that I had to make. So, being said, to make something pretty clear, it's like your enemy are always closer than you think. Your gut's feelings never lie to you. I hope she enjoyed the money that they gave to her for that job. I hope. Anyways, comme j'ai dit, la vie, c'est un miroir. Ce que tu fais, tu vas le voir. Puis, qu'est-ce qui était étrange quand pour clôturer cet épisode-là, quand les policiers sont venus, ils nous ont fait sortir de la maison. On n'avait plus le droit de rentrer dans la maison. Logiquement, par là, t'es supposé me protéger et non pas rentrer dans la maison. Puis là, ils nous ont séparés dans les voitures de policiers. Puis on nous a assis. Et puis que le policier qui me parlait me demandait qui était là dans la maison. Puis j'ai donné le nom de la personne de la maison. Anyways, I think I will have to do another episode for that. I think you understand where I'm going with that story. And I hope you're going to buy my book when I will express the reality of the daughter of a hustler. Because there's a lot of bad things about that lifestyle. But I've learned a lot of things from it that I'm seeing things differently. Because there is also a lot of good things that I could gain from it at that time. That today I'm like, I will never go back. So sometimes you gotta say thanks to God for certain things that you could have avoided, and that it didn't went that worse. You know what I'm trying to say? So sur ce, je clôture cet épisode-là en passant un message à toute personne. Soyez vigilants. Vous savez pas qui vous aime.